Bum, 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 bum.
In lieu of a recording of our music today, Patrick Richwood is giving it to us live.
Spin the bass right now. Now I'm fading.
The Working Actor NYC, that's Patrick Richwood.
It's Benjamin Howes.
And Patrick is being a live music today because StreamYard is being recalcitrant and won't let me scroll down the media assets so that I can.
Recalcitrant. I hope viewers pick that up. That's a $20 word coming out of a $5 mouth.
My college education paid for a lot.
College? What's that?
Oh, Lord. Hi, Pookie Poops.
Happy
birthday, America.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Happy birthday.
Let's celebrate being American by eating tacos and German food.
Happy birthday, America. You're 3.
You're 3? What happened to the other?
Kind of feels that way, doesn't it?
Growing pains.
No, yeah, America feels like it's about 13 right now. It feels like a 13-year-old boy.
Yeah, a 13-year-old white boy in a playground. I don't know.
Kind of, yeah.
Hey, listen, we have a super interesting set of topics and comments to lined up. Happy 4th, boys from Dolls of Horror. Hey, Summer's got some exciting news to share, and I'm let's just give that shout out right now. Our friend Summer from Dolls of Horror, she just booked a film. Oh, yes, she did. Congratulations, Summer. Thrilled to hear that.
Brava, diva. Brava.
I love it when our friends in the community get their props and get their due.
That's
but
right.
Something I wanted to, before we dig deep into our topic of independence today, I wanted to give you a quick little field report from this week, because Patrick, you don't know this because it happened yesterday and we didn't speak in length. There is a casting director in New York City called Paul Hart, who, Patrick, I know you're a fan of.
He's just so super sweet.
He's been a huge champion of mine for over 20 years. I mean, we met because the MTA went on strike. And I showed up to an EPA. He was associate casting director on a Broadway play. And I was like, I'm going to go to that EPA, which, the totally general auditions. And the day of the EPA, there was an MTA strike, no subways, no buses. And so only about 20 people showed up to this audition. And so he was like, great, I am going to take the time. And he spent time with every single person. I think he and I were in the room for half an hour together. I did my audition piece for him, and I became a reader for him. We just have developed this great working relationship over the years. So he reached out to, I'm not going to mention the show because there's confidentiality involved, but he reached out to my agent yesterday to see if I would be prepared to jump on an airplane and go and play a secondary role in a show that I have done before, which is on tour in other countries around the world. And would I be prepared to jump on an airplane because they needed an immediate replacement temporarily?
Oh my God, that's fantastic.
And of course, it's Paul Hart, one of my champions. So I wanted to say yes. And I said no.
Oh, because you just said, I'm not going out of town.
As a legal permanent resident, I don't feel comfortable traveling internationally right now. I have no criminal record.
Oh, it's an international tour?
Yeah,
I don't think
in another country. Yeah.
Okay.
I mentioned it in another country. So I have no criminal record. I'm not saying anything necessarily would have happened, but just that uncertainty about what's happening in our airports at the moment was enough that I didn't want to leave the country.
Yeah.
It's I
don't know what the show is, but whatever it is, I love that you were offered it. I love that you, or at least that he was checking to see if you were available for him to
Checking
offer
to see if it's something that they should send me an offer
you.
for.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's wonderful. And to me, I think that's where it's at. Like, that's congratulations on
Well,
that.
it's, it's the hard part isn't saying no to the job because it was a parallel move. It's a show I've done before. It's only for a few weeks. Like the job itself,
Right.
parallel move, not a big career shifter for me. It was
Right.
saying no to somebody that I genuinely wanted to help.
Right. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
This was an emergency situation for this casting
It
director.
would
And
feel so good to be able to like be the hero for a moment for your
I
friend,
sure,
for this
absolutely.
colleague that you feel. Yeah, I get it. Totally get it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Paul was the one who cast you in the show that we met. Anything goes. It's good to me.
That's right. That's right. Paul does all of the
Happy
casting
4th.
for Happy 4th of July from Nevea, NT123. Happy 4th. I'm not sure what.
Is that how you say that?
I'm not sure.
Peter
Don't know.
Moses.
I'm not sure what this one means. What happened in 1984? I mean, 1984 was one of my glory years. I will say that. But
1776, 1984.
not sure.
That's unless maybe they're referencing Are you referencing the novel, the scary novel? Maybe.
Oh yeah, maybe. Yeah,
A lot of
that
that.
could
A lot of that
well
shit's
be
come
true.
Yeah.
But anyway, sort of what that story about Paul Hart and the parallel move and having the control and ownership of my career enough to be able to say no to a potential offer made me realize. I mean, today's episode is all about independence and whether or not you're waiting for permission. Sometimes independence isn't about saying yes. It's about accepting that you're the one who has to make the decision.
Yeah. So stupid.
So much. It makes me so
stupid. It's all right. It gave me a chance to text Paul Hart to let him know that I'm available for the role that you.
Fair enough. As you should be.
It's our feature presentation.
It's a feature presentation. We're talking about independence because I don't know if you know, but today is called Independence Day, also known as Happy Birthday, Murica, also known as 4th of July. And today, that independence, I think, doesn't mean you have to do everything yourself. It's about being clear about what belongs to you, what belongs to your team, what belongs to nobody, like getting clear about. And so in one of our social media posties, I had asked people what they wish they had more control over in their careers. And I wanted to start with this one. Adair Whalen said, just one. Go on, you say it, Patrick.
If I could have more control over getting auditions and scheduling them in bulk, oh yeah, that would be fantastic. A dream, it says. Yeah. Adair Whalen, that's a great one because I wouldn't have even thought of that. But that's what we're trying to encourage here is like, go ahead and think outside think big. Like, don't think inside of, well, these are the rules that I'm allowed to, inside. You're thinking outside the box. Like, yeah, that would be phenomenal. That would really improve my life.
It just brings up that super interesting question of so is the process of getting auditions, does that belong to you or does that belong to your agent? And it's a combo platter, right? It's partly yours. It's partly yours. Because if we're talking about what I did for 7 years in New York City before I got an agent, getting auditions was entirely my responsibility. I had complete sort of control, ownership, and independence when it came to getting auditions, because if I didn't do it, nobody else is going to do it for me.
Yeah.
But that did shift, obviously, when I got an agent. But I still self-submit on Actors Access. I mean, there are still these opportunities.
I think you bring up a good point too, Benjamin, which is I was sort of circling this idea when I was thinking about today's topic, but I didn't quite hit on it, which is that I was more, in many ways, I was more independent before I had representation. When I was just a starving actor with all my other starving actor friends, and we'd get up every morning and we would wait in line outside the Equity Building in New York, so that when it
Yeah, on
opened, we could
46th
get our
Street. Yeah.
number for our various open call things.
Yeah.
And then we would go and have breakfast for $4, and then we would get showered and everything. We'd go back at noon or whenever our number was called, and
Right.
and I've got still lifelong friends from those lines outside the building. But I those were very independent times. And yeah, if I think about it, it's like it did not hurt me, my character. It helped my character. It helped my resilience. And now that I think about it, actually, it didn't stop me. I had everything.
Well,
I mean,
it made you feel like you were part of the process. It made you feel like you were doing what you came to New York to do, right?
yeah. And I mean, it just wasn't an we were all trying to get agents, but it wasn't stopping us from. Now, as I'm older and more sort of like soft bellied, I'm like, I mean, it's like figuratively speaking, I'm sort of like, oh, do I have to? And it's like, I'm less in. I have been, and this is me copying to it because the topic of this episode made me think. I've been far less independent minded than I used to be, and that always was a help for me. It always was like,
Right.
what can I do? There wasn't an alternative. Like, well, what should somebody else be doing? I didn't have that. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that can really stop you up. What should somebody else be doing? How come somebody else isn't blah 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 XYZ? How come all these factors outside of me aren't helping? Well, what that's life.
How come the world isn't conspiring to make you
How
happy?
come the world isn't helping me and doing it on my schedule?
But so it brings up an interesting point, though, because yes, I was certainly guilty. Like I say, it took me 7 years to get an agent in New York City, and for that time, I was entirely responsible for getting auditions. And then once I got an agent, I outsourced that responsibility. But it didn't take away my responsibility for keeping my materials in top shape, identifying where I fit into the market, maintaining relationships with the jobs and the people that I worked with, making sure that I was going to auditions and staying visible, keeping my training up and running. Like all of these things still were over here with me. Like even when you have an agent, there are still things that are over here with you, right?
Yeah, very much. And being independent of whether you have reps or not, having an independent spirit, I think is what opens the door energetically for things to move and be, for creation to happen. I really do. Because I was thinking.
Yeah, say more about that.
Booked my first production contract, Broadway production, national tour, without an agent. Booked my first commercial without an agent. Got my SAG card. Got my equity card. Booked a TV series regular network TV series without an agent.
Right.
Booked everything I could. Along the way, booked my first movie without an agent.
Oh, really?
My first, second, and third movies without an agent. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I'm trying to think all the things you're supposed to not be able to do with that. I didn't know any better. And I think that's because I had a spirit of independence, or self-sufficiency, if you will, that I think I tie closely with independence. I feel like self-sufficiency, and I want to say more later about the acting aspect of it as what it is to be a self-sufficient actor, because I thought about that too. But yeah, I think that being in that, having that sort of headspace of, I'm the driver of the car. It's up to me.
Right.
Ultimately, I'm the head of the fish. So let me, take that and run with it. And that creates a space of, I think, that's charged with doors opening instead of
So,
closing.
so then let's move on, because this is like sort of the next step of this. Chadley G mentioned there are so many catch-22s in this business. I don't have the training and the skill. Oh, sorry,
I have
I'm
the
reading
training.
that. I have the training and the skills and a unique look, but since I don't have an agent, getting access to the union episodics and bigger film projects is very difficult. I guess needing this middleman is not independence, but in order to build the resume, a rep would definitely help. So, this brings up the entire situation of, okay, so there are all of these inputs to your career, your training, your craft, your visibility, your relationships. There are all these things that are over here with you. And then there are certain things that are over there with an agent, like the things that you don't have control, and where you don't have independence, where you don't have control. And, as Chadley G says, the big one there is having access to those higher level auditions, because they're behind, a wall on Actors Access that only agents and managers have access to.
Well, yes, you're right, Chadley G. It would be easy. It would help, right? But I also think, like, you listen to people like, I can't remember if it was Colascola or Charles Bush, one of them who was
Oh,
big in the
wow.
downtown scene forever, and I'm just now
Yeah.
conflicted. I can't
Yeah.
quite recall which one it was. Said they didn't have an agent and they proceeded through their career as if they never would, because they were so downtown and so fringe that they just
Right.
proceeded as if they never would have an agent. That solved that problem for them. They weren't at conflict anymore. They just plowed ahead, consequently becoming the forerunner, the leader of this type of genre. It might have been
Downtown
Charles
independent.
Bush,
Yeah.
yeah. But
Yeah.
I dare say it may be that Colascola had the same point of view, maybe, but articulated differently. I don't know. But that thing of like, I'm gonna, I'm fringe. I'm not gonna be mainstream.
Right.
Why would I be? So
Right.
here I go anyway. And look, he's the most mainstream thing on Broadway. They're the most mainstream thing on Broadway, or they were last season, right? Because
Yes.
Oh Mary. So it's like,
But they created that for themselves. Like, that was entirely.
the way they had been for everything else in their career.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, you just go forward. And I think that ties in with what I was saying before about, in my experience, for me, I think the thing that pierced through all those worries and concerns and all those sort of the sense of at being at a disadvantage, Chatterjee, was that I just leaned into doing it more as much as I possibly could, doing what I do.
Right.
And that seemed to pierce through the disadvantage. And I don't think that's anomalous to me. I think that's how I would look back and see, oh, that's how it went. And I need to put more of that in my life now, in my career. Like, lean into doing what you do. Do it somewhere else. Do it.
I mean, it really does come back to that whole idea of nobody. I feel one of my mantras is nobody's going to care about your career more than you do. So I am absolutely a big fan of my reps and my agent. And, I love having a team. I would not want to forego any of that. In fact, I would love to expand my team. But in the end, I'm never going to delegate my career to somebody else. I want to be in charge of that. And part of that is, creating my own oppormunities, like Colascola did, like
Charles Bush did, like Charles
Damon,
Ludlam did,
Matt Damon and
what's
Ben
her face?
Affleck did. I mean, there are just all of these
So many
examples, like Curry Barker, Chris Stuckman, the minimum wage team. Those
Amy
are all
Amy Sedaris.
Yeah, like all of those Obsession, Backrooms, the horror films that are doing huge box office. These are all tasks that they created for themselves.
Lena Dunham.
Yeah.
You could go on and on and on. I mean,
Yeah.
there's so many. And you go, well, yeah, but she had CAA or whatever. It's like, yeah, but not always. And I dare say these people just plowed ahead, almost as if it didn't matter who their reps were. I
Right.
might be wrong, but I'll bet you that's a theme if we were able to deconstruct, and so it's easy. It sounds easy for me to say, Charlie G, but I think at the kernel of it, that's really kind of the magic of it. Is like, do what you do, just do it
The
more
more
you than anybody else.
the more yourself you are, the easier it is to sell it. Like this is
For somebody else to sell. They go, I got you from here. Like, keep doing you. I'll take you and sell you. Yeah.
It's a little early, but I'm going to discuss it anyway. This is exactly why I created the Wheelhouse workshop, which is coming up on Saturday, July 25th. If you want to check the link in my link tree, you can get access to all the details about that and the registration
I'm going to do it.
But the whole point of it is to help you articulate who you are to the industry, to help the industry figure out how to use you. Because the more you are, the more specific you are, the better solution you will be to the casting problem.
Well, and also that will resolve a lot of issues for yourself. It's like, I know what I am. I've looked at the results of my career. I've seen the proof. I've also seen I know where my zone is. I know where my sweet spot is. I know it. I know that I excel in those roles. It gives you, I think motorcycle. I think it gives you you can't. By the way, I'm in this beautiful bucolic setting because I'm upstate with my friends for the 4th. Isn't this pretty?
Beautiful, gorgeous.
Anyway,
nothing says happy birthday, America, like mosquitoes. Yeah.
Yeah, and a red barn door. That's right. Which is really a nuclear silo. It just looks like a shed. Yeah.
But I mean, look, just to sort of loop it back, look, for years, my agent generated almost all of my auditions, but that didn't mean that I wasn't responsible for the inputs that built the actor that my agents were selling, making sure that I was clear about who I was to the industry, making sure my materials were up to date, networking, staying visible, all of creating my own opportunities, making my representative's job easier by making sure that I was taking care of my responsibilities.
That's an area that I fall down all the time in. Viewers, this is something Benjamin knows about me, but I'm always like getting overwhelmed by the logistical things.
Yeah.
The tools and the headshots thing, which one, and the Wheelhouse stuff. All of this is stuff that I understand inside, but
intellectually,
doing them that's a hard thing for me. And I dare say a lot of artists probably out there deal with this, which is we have to find ways to get an empowering context for it.
Yeah.
Because it's like we were talking about last time about schmoozing and how it's a disempowering conflict. It's a disempowering context for so many people. Networking and being with people and building relationships, they think of it as schmoozing, and that's a disempowering context. It's the same thing with these kinds of things about being an independent-minded, self-sufficient actor who's at the bottom line is, I'm driving this. I'm at the head of Team Patrick.
Right. You're the CEO, baby.
I'm a CEO. I love this. I love that you're helping so many young actors on how to get started. 4th of July. Happy 4th of July. Polly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Thank you, Boy BWW1245. Appreciate your support.
Boy WWC. I couldn't read that. Yeah.
So moving on to this is the other. Yeah, I mean, just to wrap up agents, I would say, please delegate the tasks. Don't delegate your career. Okay. Just as a quick explanation, part of your Broadway World podcast. Thank you, Broadway World. Appreciate the support. And if you're over on TikTok, you can hit my link tree and hit that first link, and it'll bring you over to the YouTube version where you can see all of these comments. You can see Patrick. You get a much more visual representation of the show rather than just my big old face.
Yeah, come on over where the pretty people are, over here.
Exactly right. I'm so glad you're here, part of your World Broadway world. Thank you for being here. We appreciate your support. So moving on, this was okay. This was super interesting comment that we got on the social media post. Go on, Patrick. You read it out loud.
Unless you can do nothing but acting to earn money, there's no such thing as an independent career.
Super interesting. Because
yeah, that is interesting. If you want to say a little more about that, I wouldn't be mad
I
at
think,
you.
Look, in a very literal sense, 100% true, right? But I think you're missing the point.
Well, they're speaking about financial independence. Is that what I'm taking?
You're absolutely right. Financial privilege creates opportunities, right? Undeniable, but that's not the kind of independence we're talking about. We're talking about ownership. You know, look, even somebody with unlimited amounts of money, unlimited resources, still can't outsource discipline, relationships, preparation, professionalism. Do you know what I mean? Like there are
coaching, ongoing, study and ongoing practice. Yeah. And also a lot of actors say, well, I don't have a ballet bar. I don't have a set of paints and a canvas. I don't have an instrument to play. And I'm always like, yes, you do. You have your imagination. That's your number one thing to practice, to exercise. That's why. And I've had teachers say in various ways and point to their mentors or people they admire, different ways that actors engage their imagination daily in order to be ready for that thing that comes at you at a moment's notice, and you can drop right into it. We've talked about that before. Unless you can do nothing but acting to earn money, there's no such thing as an independent career. I disagree, unless you're speaking only about what it looks like to be financially independent. As an actor only. And I don't think I would even begin to approach that subject because I don't even know what that looks like. I was
going to ask, I mean, you've had more experience at the very highest levels of our industry than most. And I mean, how many actors do you know who only act?
I know, okay, this isn't going to be the answer you expected me to know. First of all, I do not have more experience than most. I have more. I'm thousands of years old. That's the thing. That's the main thing you want to point out. And so you get, by default, you get wise about some things. Knowledge is one thing. Wisdom, that just, I think, just comes over like centuries. Anyway, I know a lot of people who only make their living as an actor. I also know a lot of people who have never been able to make their living only as an actor. In between, there's people like me. I've made my living as an actor. I've made the majority of my living as an actor for 45 years. That doesn't mean I haven't had countless side jobs. The one thing that I have discovered, though, and I lean towards because it's beneficial for my well-being, is that I'm way better at anything creative than non-creative. So if it isn't creative, I'm either going to make it creative or not, or leave that job, because I start to lose my ability to function if I'm not doing something that I can at least be participating, that I can make creative. I won't be very good at it. And I won't feel like I'm being a contribution. So it ends up whittling away at me. That I've learned. I will go out of my way to see to it that I'm doing. And over the years, of course, I haven't just developed as an actor. I've developed as a painter and as a writer and as a coach and so I've got a lot of other areas that I make money at as a director. But
that's kind of what I'm talking about. But even like, for example, you've done a movie with Julia Roberts. Now, she makes vast amount of her money from acting, right? Except that now she also has other businesses that she, devotes some of her time to. So the point I'm sort of making is that there are very, very, very few people who only do acting and that's it. And that's all that they do. And they only make their money from acting and that's it. Right?
Well, Julia just said last weekend over dinner. No, just kidding. I just wanted to see if I could say this with a straight face, but I could. No, she's.
Would you understand what I'm saying? It's like, even when you get to that,
acting, I suppose.
But then even when you get to that level, you're still looking for other creative ways to fulfill your time. It's not just acting all the time.
Yeah, but I think we're slipping off the subject. I think the real subject is how do you, if you're that this person has said to themselves, like a lot of us do, well, if I'm not this, I must just be, it's just too hard, or it's not, I can't, it'll never be independence. And I'm thinking, and my take on it is there's different kinds of independence. And as you said, Benjamin, we're talking about a different kind of independence than financial independence. Like financial freedom from acting is most definitely the rare, it's most definitely the small
It's
percentage.
the
It's a tiny
1% of
percentage.
SAG. It's 1%
Or
of SAG.
or equity or even non-union. There's loads of non-union people who make a lot of money at non-union work, lots of them.
Yeah.
But they're still the tiny percentage because it's just that's just the way it is. It's a finite number of job opportunities and there's a million of us. But
Yeah.
I really do believe that it's worth re-examining that thing that who was that said that?
Basara, hang on, did I get rid of it? Where is it? There he goes. Add to the stage. Basara
Baggery. I wish I could read these like you can. Anyway, I think it's worth looking at that and going, did I jump a step? You know, if I can't have it so that I'm only acting to earn my money, then I don't have an independent career. It's like, as an actor, your independence is about how you're being when you're an actor and when you're developing your work as an actor. It's not about, actually, I take that back. It's not about how many other jobs you have. It's completely that's a completely, to me, that's irrelevant. It's really about how you're utilizing everything to focus it back towards what it is you want to be doing.
I agree with you. I made a very I had a very popular post on social media because I made a video about this. Your job does not equal your career. It's like, if you think that you'll only be happy when you are playing the lead in a blockbuster movie or a hit TV series, not only are you setting yourself up for a lifetime of disappointment and singing music to the ears of your therapist, you're outsourcing your creative ownership. Like, take ownership of your creative
Exactly.
life.
Yeah. Not to mention, side note, let's say you do get that blockbuster movie role, then what?
Yeah.
If you think that's what's going to make you happy and it doesn't, or it does in a way that's not the fulfillment you were expecting, then what? It's a bad investment.
And then
it's a bad investment.
And then you, like, okay, so you book that movie, but then what? Now you're suddenly in a competition of like, well, now I've got to book the next one. And what if it doesn't? What if you don't? You know what I mean? Like, then
all
it
those
becomes
aspects, both personal and professional, it all spells disappointment, because you cannot put all your eggs in the basket of a role or an opportunity that you got. We all want to. We're tempted to. I can't even count how many years I thought, once I've been on Broadway
right.
and done that thing, it's off to the races, because that's where I belong, and that's what it's going to be. My career's completely looked completely different than I absolutely expected it to look when I was 17 or 18.
Yeah, absolutely.
P.S. I never ever, and I don't think maybe kids do now, but when I was a kid, which was like, when me and Moses were in the same class in prep school, I remember when Methuselah graduated to long pants. Anyway, I feel like I never ever thought in terms of career. It didn't even occur to me that a career was involved. I was like, I want to act. How am I going to get on Broadway? Like, I want to go to New York. I want to be with the people. I want to be with the tribe. I want to act. And never dreamed I'd be pulled to LA to do film and TV. Never dreamed of it. I did not pursue it. And then, and I know that sounds like, oh, good for you. You didn't pursue it. It just came. But but it wasn't like that. I still suffered.
Well,
I
in a
still
way, it's kind of the
angsted
world
about.
that you came from. So you were, well, not that you came from, it's just that your family was involved in that industry. And so I think you were looking for a different.
I was in that. In one sense, you're very right. No, none of them were actors except cousins. It
Right,
wasn't that. It was that. It was. It was that. It was, and that they were super instrumental in the support and even introductions. There's absolutely no doubt about that. I met Gary Marshall through my sister Blair, who worked in his office,
right.
and through another family friend who went to college with him. He was getting bombarded with Patrick from two, an
Getting
old friend
Patrick from
and
all angles.
yeah. And so finally we're like, all right, I'll meet the guy. I'll tell him we'll have a meeting. And then I took over, right? I wasn't thinking about a career. I was just thinking about, I was just being, yeah, saying yes. I wanted to work. I wanted to
Right,
work.
right.
That's really so career mindedness might be the death of us in a way. Cause it's like career. Okay, fine. But in the meantime, what about the actual work? I want
The
to,
craft, the doing the work, the having that's the
yeah.
fun part. That's the fun
Well, it's the
part.
fun part, and ironically, it's what leads to more.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think.
You were going to
I
talk
think.
about actor independence, which I was sort of interested. Does that I'm getting hit on TikTok, just so I'm a little distracted because I'm getting hit on TikTok. But you
What are they
mentioned
saying? What are they saying? You're hot.
you're
I
so
like your
handsome. Smile
mustache.
more. Don't hide that beautiful smile of yours. but um, but did you want to say more about that, or did we already cover it? Talking about actor independence.
um,
Is that what you were
I
talking
wanted
about?
to.
The craft of.
I wanted to just touch it a little bit on. I
You wanted
had.
to touch me a little bit? Is that what you said?
No, now you're in a different podcast altogether. Come back to us. Come back to us. Benjamin gets so little attention that when you give him a crumb,
Oh, thank you, Summer. Oh.
they are not wrong though. That's right, Summer. She was talking to me. Summer was talking to me.
Certainly. Yes. No, absolutely.
That's right, Patrick. Shh, everybody smile and nod. Don't get him upset. Don't look him in the eye.
So the thing that I just wanted, I mean, I was going to head to a wrap up unless you wanted to add us
I did want to add one thing about the
get
actual
into it.
craft of acting, which I think is worthwhile, which is that I had a teacher. I've had a few teachers who have taught like in a very collaborative way. Like you do scene study and you get together with the other actor and you rehearse and you stage it and you put together the scene like you're going to present it, right? And
Yeah.
I've always thought that was stupid, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Because you nowhere in real life do you do that. You rarely get to work with the person who's going to be your scene partner. When you do, it's on the set. You're being costumed, you're being staged, you have to exercise the muscle of the only thing you will always be given control of, which is your interpretation beforehand. Before an audition, before the day on this first day of rehearsal, if there is one, before the first day on the set, and before the first day on camera, you have the opportunity to deepen the work yourself using the tools that you find work for you. They do not involve staging a show, costuming it, collaborating with the other actor on what they are going to or not going to do. Those, to me, things are so gratuitously silly to practice as if I'm going to need those skills. It's like, I get it. That's how it's set up. That's what the majority of actors do. But I had this one teacher. Her policy was, don't talk about the scene with each other. Do not talk about it outside of class. We will talk about it in class only. You will do your work. They will do their work. You will come together and do the scene, and we will work on it for a few weeks, maybe several weeks, depending on what's getting teased out, right? Sometimes she was like, brilliant, you've both done your homework. It was beautiful. Here's why. What the audience and the class would be like, uh-huh. And then other times it'd be like, okay, this is what she'll direct you, Benjamin, and go, I think when she says this, you should respond this way. No, it was all like, did you look here in your homework? Did you think about this? Did you think about this? That's gonna be of value to you the next time and it would be. It was pure self-sufficiency as an actor she was teaching. Why? Because that's what we need in real life. We don't get to go off with the person that we're going to be in the scene with and be like, let's rehearse. Let's decide what we're going to wear. It's all gratuitous. And I don't like that. I'm like, let's get to it. If I've got one thing to work with and it's my imagination, teach me how to exercise that muscle. That's my take on it. And to me, that's the kind of self-sufficiency that I have always, always admired. And when I've talked to people like Julia Roberts or whoever, people that you admire, or maybe even people you don't know to admire yet, because when we were both kind of, at the beginnings with Pretty Woman, but there is a mentality among people that's like, well, I'm going to go off and do my homework. A term I've never even liked. I don't like the concept of homework. I call it discovery work because that's what lawyers call it, and I love it. It's delving in and getting in there and getting into the story and, Uda and all that stuff. That really is exciting to me. Now, maybe that's not the way you work, but for me, that kind of self-sufficiency as an actor is invaluable for the low times because nobody can fuck with that with me. Nobody can say I don't have the muscle from working daily on deepening my relationship to story so that when I get a piece of shit writing, I can go there. Right. Or if I get great writing, I know where the gold is because I'm used to, I'm like going in there, diving in. And if we do that all the time, that kind of self-sufficiency, it translates as confidence, and that is bookable. People book confident actors.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it is just back to that. I love that you've brought the independence to the actual craft part of it, because, my thing is always very much about, and I think that what I originally thought about this episode was very much about sort of what are the career things, what are the business things that actors can do in order to maintain some ownership of what it is that they do. But I love that you've brought in the craft element to it as well.
I think that really, for me, is the number one way that I have retained a sense of ownership in my life as an actor. And I'm mostly talking about film and TV, where those kinds of collaborations, there isn't the time or the money for them. Yeah. Unless you're working with a big star director who has the budget to go, we're going to go away into my country house and we're going to rehearse for 2 weeks, which I have actually experienced that. I was on a movie once where they didn't have the budget for that. And the director, Tom Shadyac, said, would you all be willing to come over to my house every day for a week and we'll rehearse this comedy and we'll tease it out? And it was fantastic because we were really ready when we got to the set. I love collaboration. That's why I love the theater. Yeah. But even then, if I've done my homework, my discovery work before the first day of rehearsal, I'm going to be bringing so much more to the sandbox when it's time to collaborate and play. Yeah. So it's still that independent sense of like self-sufficient. Doesn't mean you have to do it in a vacuum. It just means you know how to do it in a vacuum.
Yeah. I love that. So this is the sort of the framework that we sort of ended up with these different comments from different people, is that there are certain parts that belong to you that are entirely over there with you, the actor, and that's the craft, exactly what Patrick's just talking about. Your visibility, your relationships, your infrastructure, those are the things that your mindset, those are the things that are over here with you. And then there's the collaboration that you have with your agent and your manager, to, the submissions, the negotiations, the audition, part of the audition process. And then there are things that don't belong to either of you that you cannot be independent. None of us has control over timing. None of us has control over luck. None of us has control over other people's decisions or whether another actor is more influential and so they book the role. Do you know what I mean? Like, there are some things that you just have to release from your bag of worries because there's nothing you can do about them. Like,
that's true in life too, isn't it?
Take ownership of what you can. Let it go. And I mean, the more clearly you know what belongs to you, the less time you'll spend worrying about what doesn't.
There's some things they cannot take away from you ever, nor can the business, capital B, or your career's plans being thwarted or anything else. There's some things they cannot take away from us as actors.
Yeah.
And the number one thing is our authenticity, or the number three things I think are our authenticity, our willingness to play, and our imagination. That's imagination. And our self-sufficiency.
Yeah.
Independence.
Yeah.
Independency.
Happy birthday, Merca. Thanks for joining us for the Working Actor NYC Podcast.
Thanks for joining us, you guys. And I'd love to hear feedback, follow-up comments about that thing about independence and, independent career without making. I would love to follow up with us, because this doesn't have to end just because we're ending the, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Let's continue the conversation going. You can find us over on all the social media channels at The Working Actor NYC. You can drop us a line at theworkingactornyc.com. That's where you can find us. You'll also find our merch. You will also find information about our coaching programs and workshops. Wheelhouse Workshop, Saturday, July 25th. If you want help getting clear about how the industry sees you and how to use that in your marketing materials, that's where we got. That's what we got.
Wait, I'm so excited. Do you think I can get a discount ticket?
Wait, we got to. Let's see if I can get back into our media assets. No. Oh, it's almost there. Oh, there it is. I found our music.
Is the guy on TikTok telling you have a hot media asset?
TikTok, thanks for joining us. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Otherwise, check us out on theworkingactornyc.com for all of our assets. We'll see you then.